Hello, and welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Unmasking Your True Self. I'm Elisa Bogarts, your guide on this journey to discovering the most genuine version of yourself. Each episode is a step towards unveiling the incredible power that lies within you as we strip away all the shoulds and shine a light on the coulds. Together, we'll explore the path of self-empowerment, self-confidence, and the courage to be unapologetically you. Thank you for being here. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about productivity and time management and how to get an hour back every day, which will just, help you live your more authentic life. And today, my guest is Les Watson. He's a productivity and time management expert, which I think is one reason why we get along so well. His passion for and expertise in self-management and productivity has earned him the nickname the Time Lord. He comes with over 30 years of experience as a trainer, speaker, facilitator, and coach in self-management, motivation, and communication. He is the author of Get Back an Hour in Every Day and facilitates the acclaimed Creating Success program. Welcome, Les. How you doing?
I am fabulous. It's wonderful to be here. My promise is to give those listening an hour back by just spending half an hour with us. So there's a promise. You got to stay till the end just to get the revelation of that one.
Talk about return on investment. How are we going to be winning?
Yep.
So tell us how you got into this field of work and just why you're so passionate about it.
Back in the day, I did a personal development seminar, and the gentleman who was running that was a time management expert, David Allen. And he wrote the other good book on time management called Getting Things Done. And that's a worldwide phenomenon. And he trained me. And I went out and I did sales and customer service and time management. And it just landed with time management. And it became a thing to the point where I wrote a book called Get Back an Hour in Every Day. And it enables me to work with individuals, small business, all the way through to large corporates in how to, from your vernacular, how to authentically get back an hour a day. It's like, how do you not push that? How do you do that with ease? How do you enable yourself to do it so you don't have to strain? How do you take the anxiety away from having to get things done and not have the pressure? So it's been a couple of decades now of working with people, one-to-one, small groups, large groups, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, it's so awesome. And I really like how you said that about, because sometimes we learn all these things, right? And we want this outcome. Well, I want an hour back every day, but then there's all these shoulds and these have tos, and I gotta do, and then it becomes sort of stressful and constrictive. And I love how you just said that about how can you kind of do it in an authentic, sort of no pressure way, so you can do it that actually works with you. So
like, what are your goals? What are the things you want to create? And we all have this constraint called 24 hours. You got to get something done in 24 hours. And there are type A personalities that really push. And it's good to understand that I'm a type A and I push, and how do I not push? And others that go, I've really put myself under the pump here. How can I not do that? How can I actually gain back that hour a day by putting some small things into place so I don't have to have the stress?
yeah, and I feel like there's almost this scarcity around time as well, because it's like the one thing you never get back, right? Remember hearing it in one of the Avengers movie that no amount of money ever bought a second of time. And
Very good.
yeah, and so it's like there's something with that. It's like, oh, it's so precious, and then it kind of puts that that stress around it. So
Yep.
yeah.
And the other side of that is, if you take away the achievement factor, time is in the moment. So from your standpoint, it's like, in this moment, how do I be authentic in the moment? How do I still get stuff done and be in the moment? Like, what is that in the moment? Because so many times we push, and a day goes by and a week goes by and a month goes by, and a year goes by and a decade goes by and go, what happens? Like, hold on a tick. How can you stop? How can you be conscious of what you're doing around time to the point where you're enjoying every day, enjoying every hour, enjoying every minute? And I'm not saying it's namby-pamby and it's rainbows and unicorns. I'm saying stop, have a breath, notice what's going on in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, and even how you're feeling and, like, what's going on. I just had that the other day where I don't have this thing about being late. So, it's like, "Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah," and then I was like, "Oh, just calm." Like, I was meeting a friend at the beach, and we were just gonna hang out. It didn't matter if I was gonna be 5 minutes late or not. We were just gonna sit there in that spot for hours and chill out? So it was just like I really had to tell myself that, like, "You do not need to rush right now. It is okay," and then kinda coming back to that moment, like, "Okay, what do I focus on what I'm doing right now so that I can prepare myself to leave the house and everything?" Because I think if I was always in my head of like, "Oh, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late," then I'm not being present, right? I'm in my head and
Very
rushing and
good.
stressing myself out. Yeah, but it takes practice. And I had to tell myself that several times, just being like, it's okay. You are not in a rush. It does not matter what time you get there. Got all the time in the world. Just calm down. It's okay.
Okay, so you've honed in on a really good point, and that is awareness. I find that the ability to be aware is a lacking skill. Are
Mm,
you aware of your life? Are you aware of the moment? I have a strategy, and that is become aware of what works in your life, become aware of what doesn't work, and discover new things to put into your world that you can to make things better. But the key of that is the word awareness. Are you aware that you stumble? Are you aware that you push? Are you aware that you're anxious? Are you aware? And for me, I've got people around me to tap me on the shoulder and say, "Oh, by the way, you do this behavior." And you go, "Do I? Do I really? Wow. Okay." And then you get to choose what you do with it. On your previous point about you meeting your friend at the beach, and traffic's is a classic example. It's like, I need to get there, I need to get there, I need to get there, and the traffic's holding me up. Well, what if the traffic and being held up is stopping you from being in an accident? And I go, that's a different way of looking at it, because I'm
mhm.
always on time. It's
Yeah.
that thing of, if you're not on time, there's got to be a good reason for it, and to work it, as opposed to beating yourself up all the time, and glide in that. It's like structures around time to get you where you need to be, as opposed to last minute and the fear of missing out. Oh, I need to do these 15 things prior to getting out the door. What if you did two and relaxed out the door? What? I can do that, can I? Yes, you can. You have permission. It's okay.
Yeah, I think of the quality of life that gives you too, right?
Yep.
To leave the door stress free, like, "Oh, that sounds a lot nicer than just being some anxious, sweaty mess and rushing," and yeah. So tell me, what does, authenticity mean to you?
Being self, just honoring yourself, and being authentic is being myself, not having to put the mask on.
Mm.
So many times we run across people, particularly in business. It's like, here's my business card and here's what I do. Here's my business card and here's the suit that I wear. And here's my business card and here's how much money I earn. It's like, well, if you come underneath that and go, how's your relationships? And how's how are you when you put your head on the pillow at the end of the day? And how to come from that, to be authentic with everybody that you meet, and yourself. But those people that you meet, to go, are you putting forward the mask, or are you putting forward the real you, the authentic you, the one that doesn't have a mask, the one that you are, you are, you are you. And authentic is very easy when you come across it. You come across an authentic person, you go, they're real. They are so real. I like them because they don't have the mask. They're not coming forward with a have to, or a need to, or a want to sell you something, either personally or professionally, but they're just being who they are.
Yeah, and I always love meeting those people sometimes, just like, "Wow, you're just so genuine," just and I always have such respect for the people that I meet like that. I just think it's It's pretty awesome. I'm like, you're
Yeah,
just you.
and you and I've known each other for a while now, and you've been with my group. Here I'm on your podcast, and people say, do you do the same thing when you're off camera or off the mic? And I go, yeah, I'm the same person. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to perform. I'm just me, because my purpose in life is to bring life, whether that is on a podcast, whether it's in a social situation, whether it's with family, whether it's in business, it's to bring life. So I spring out of bed of a morning going, where can I bring life? And I don't need to perform on that. I just do it.
Oh, that's so nice. What a way to wake up and to be motivated at the beginning of the day, right? If that's your purpose. I love that. I have to think of one of those myself. I want to wake up every day and spring out of bed and think.
Yeah. And I do say to people that the way to do that is to ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? For example, why do you do what you do? And you go, I earn money. Okay. And why do you want money? Because I want this. And why is that important to you? And because of this. And why is that important? Because of this. So why do you do that? And you chunk it down and down and down until you can't get any further. And when it was first given to me, I heard it and I went, I can't come up with that in this session. I just can't. So I grabbed my wife and I said, let's go and have breakfast. So on the Sunday morning, we went to a cafe and I said, here's the question. I need to come to a bottom line around purpose. So continue to ask me the why until we get there. And within 20 minutes, half an hour, I got to a bottom line and almost fell off my chair going, I'm not 21. I've been on the planet for X amount of years and I've just realized my purpose. Wow, what a game changer. So that I can live, in your parlance, I can live authentically to live my purpose every single day.
Because I feel like sometimes what you might think is your purpose or sort of changes, or you realize that maybe there's some like underlying thing that's not really the
Yep.
true purpose, or there's some type of driver behind it that, and it's like, okay, and as you sort of slowly let go of those things and peel those onions away, you kind of can get down to the true purpose.
Yeah, it could be to bring freedom, could be to bring grace, could be to bring healing, clarity, whatever it is. And there's numbers, lots of them, but it's like, what is it for you specifically? Because Elisa's is different to Les's. Les is different to his wife's, Mary. So it
Yeah.
differs from person to person. And I've actually not come across two that are the same.
Hmm.
And you kind of go, really? It's like, yeah, everyone has an individual piece that they want to bring.
And so just thinking about that, to like, sometimes we feel like we need the time in order to do these things to kind of get into that purpose. Let's talk about how we can get this hour back.
Mm.
So yeah, give us some tips in how people can do it sort of authentically, and how we can get that hour back. Like what are some of the systems or tools that can help us manage time better?
If we come to a basic level, that is, what's your productivity system that you use? And it doesn't matter if it's paper based or if it's app based or digital, doesn't matter. What is it for you that you, when once you get it out of your head down somewhere, it will get done? And that's your system. Now, I happen to have a paper-based productivity system. It's an old Filofax. It's 6 rings, and it sits on the left-hand side of my computer. So I don't need to look anything up. I just need to turn my head, and there's the thing that I'm doing in the day. So I have a daily, and it's got my appointments on it and my to-dos. And I also use it for taking notes throughout the day. But it's a thing of, what's your system? I work with a lot of people, and one person that I worked with as an executive turned to me and said, "Oh, come into my office." And I went and I said, "No wonder I'm not effective. I've got this planner, I've got this diary, I've got this notebook. Oh, it's one of 5 notebooks, and I've got an EA out here. No wonder I can't find anything, because they continually, when they go to a meeting, they just pick up a new notebook." And I'm saying, if you have a productivity system like a Filofax or a Collins Debden, or again, it's not about them. It's like, what's yours? But you can just use it as a ring binder if you like. But is it one thing, once you get it out of your head, down on somewhere, that it will get done. A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's around here somewhere, Elisa. It's on a back of an envelope." No, 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 no. It's on a napkin. No, no, a notebook. No, was it a planner? Was it a piece of paper? I've looked for 15 minutes. I can't find it. I'll get back to you, or I've lost it. And I'm sure those that are listening are hearing it, going, "Yeah, I've done that." Well, a productivity system allows that not to happen, or doesn't allow it to happen in that regard. So it enables you to go, I need to do this. And you put that in your system. And therefore, as you look at it, you go, I need to get that done. And it doesn't slip between the cracks. So I'm happy to talk about it further with anybody. And again, I'll put my details at the end of our discussion, but it's that thing of what's the system that you've got. That's number
Yeah.
one.
And
Yeah,
even
go.
thinking about that, like, talk to us a bit about like boundaries with that system too. Like, is there any sort of like boundaries that need to be in place to like keep aligned with the system, or like discipline that needs to happen with it? Or like, do you have any sort of like tips on that, like, or ideas?
Yep, yep. Boundaries are very personal, and um, I've done this in the past. I don't do it now, but I've done it in the past where I'll say yes to everything. A really
Mm.
bad boundary. It's like, what about you? What about your productivity? What about you getting your stuff done? Oh yeah, but I need to look after everybody else. Really? Is that really true? Is that accurate? Oh yeah, but they won't like me. Well, no. So boundaries are really important, so that as people come up and say, excuse me, Elisa, have you got 5 minutes? And you absolutely know that it's not going to be 5 minutes. It's going to be 15, 20, half an hour. You can
Yeah.
actually say, what specifically are you wanting the 5 minutes about? Oh, this, and this. It's like, yep, that's really important. Now is not the time. I'm working on something else right now. Can we do that at 3 o'clock? So that you put a boundary in place, enabling you to get your work done, and communicating that what they've got is important, and that you'd like to catch up at a later time. Now, you could also, in the clarification stage, say, yep, that's really important, but I'm not the person. Go and see Jim or Bob or Sally. Why? Because they're more across that particular issue than me. Go and see them. Or you've got the skills to do that on your own. I'll see it this afternoon at 3 o'clock, but see if you can come up with the answers yourself. So the boundaries in place, enabling you to get on and do the things you want to do. Closed door policy as opposed to an open door policy. Having an indicative hat or a flag on your desk that says to people, do not disturb. It's like, can I do that? Yes, you can do that. It's okay. If it's a cultural thing in an office space.
Because I was just thinking like that as you were talking about setting those boundaries, because even you can do that with the system that you have of the things that you want to get done that day, right? You can almost like look at that list if you have it, that system in place, you have it sort of in front of your face, and someone comes to you and says, can I have 5 minutes or whatever? You can almost look at your list and be like, you know what? It's halfway through the day and I've only got one thing done on my list. Like, no, actually, I don't have time for you, and that can be kind of part of your system of how the two out boundaries in your productivity system can kind of
Absolutely,
sync
particularly
up.
with other people. But you take it out of the office and you bring it into the home, and so you have some space on your own. If I'm in that room on my own, it's my prayer time or it's my meditation time. Don't interrupt. And it's a boundary. It enables you to get some you time. And that's around boundaries. And I'll bring it back to self. Your boundaries with yourself to go, what do I need to get done today? And don't have 50 things on your list,
Yeah, I was
because
just
you
going
get
to ask you about that. How do you prioritize?
yeah, it's a frustration. It's like, oh, you told me to do a to-do list and I need to transfer everything every day and it's annoying and I'm over it. And it's like, well, first of all, don't put 50 things on your list. Put 5 or 10 that you know that you can get done based on the time frame that you've given yourself. Then prioritize them according to A's and B's. A's and B's. A's, what's the definition of an A? I hear you saying the definition of an A is that if it does not get done and the shit's going to hit the fan, and you know what that is, you're going to lose money, you lose a client, you lose a contract, you lose reputation or face. It's like, that's an A. You don't want that to happen. You want to get it done, particularly and from a home's perspective. You do not get a bill paid by 11:59:59. It's going to cost you an extra $150, and no one's got time for that. So enabling you to get your differentiation of prioritization, A's and B's, it enables you to go, oh, A's, I need to get them done, and get them done early. Get them done as soon as you can. You know you've got to get the bill done, paid, therefore get it done early. You know you need to get a contract out, get it done early. You know you need to do meal prep, get it done early rather than leave it. Now, A's and B's, what's a B? Anything that's not an A. Anything that's not an A, in other words, you'd like to get it done. However, if it doesn't get done, that's okay. And will some of the B's turn into A's for tomorrow? Yes. And that's okay. Handle today, and handle tomorrow. So as you look at your list, you can say, what is the boundary around the things that I've got? Well, my boundary is I need to get my A's done. And we talked earlier, you and I, around discipline. Part of the being a productive person is having the discipline to do what you say you're going to do, but also focus on the things that matter. And A's are the things that matter. And I'm sure that those that are listening will go, oh yeah, I've had times when I haven't been able to get what I wanted to get done. Why? Because I focused on other things. So how do you keep the main thing the main thing? How do I focus on my A's? How do I get those out of the road so the rest of the day becomes a breeze? And I'm saying don't have 15 to 20 A's on your list.
Right.
Don't overload yourself. Actually work it so that you're nipping at, you do the A's, but then your B's are those that are nipping on A's for tomorrow. And you go, if I get ahead of this one, I can tip it over the edge tomorrow and get it done. So A's and B's prioritization, it's a challenge for a lot of people. And that's a simple method, A's and B's. Get the A's done first and B's done if you can.
And do you have any sort of strategies to help people to stay focused and avoid distractions so they can get their A's done?
Number one, from our discussion earlier about awareness, become aware of what your distractions are. The phone, the phone, great distraction. Social media, fabulous distraction. I'll just look this up on Pinterest, shall I? I'll just give myself an opportunity to look at TikTok. And where did that 3/4 of an hour go? Yeah. So those sorts of distractions are in our life. Like we have the ability to be distracted, even down to, I'll just put the television on, or I'll just watch a YouTube clip. And they take you away from keeping the main thing the main thing. So when it comes to focus, just you need to have a discipline around, what do I want to do? What's the end result? And I always say to people, clarify your end result. Clarify your end result, and then be disciplined in getting that done. And you can do it nicely. You don't need to be militaristic with it. You can be nicely, but keep the main thing, even down to self-care. What? I can look after myself? Are you giving me permission to look after it? Yes, I am. All the way from Australia, I'm giving you permission to look after yourself. It's called self-care. And from they call it the oxygen theory, that if you are in an aircraft and it loses pressure, the mask will drop from the ceiling. And the instruction is to put your mask on first before helping others. So what does that mean? It means look after yourself first so you can look after other people. And self-care is about that. Oh, I never look after myself. Well, it's time that you started to look after yourself, because you can't be authentic if you are in a bad way. You can't give from an empty cup. So look after yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a thought, now I've lost it. I was going to say about when you were talking about the distractions and becoming aware of them. And I've noticed that with myself sometimes, which is why I think the system is so good, is that say something happens where all of a sudden a meeting ends early or something, and I'm like, oh, I've got the gift of time. I've got 10 minutes. Like, what do I want to do with this? And sometimes I've noticed that like I'll kind of just bounce around things on my computer. Maybe I'll read them all. Maybe I'll, do this or do that. And then I'm like, oh, like I just wasted that 10 minutes. And I don't know if I did anything or I'm just looking around things. But if you
Mm.
have that system, if you have those A's on your list right there, say like on your desk or wherever it is that you're doing things, or even post it on your fridge or whatever it is, you can actually be like, oh, I've got 10 minutes. Okay, what's my priority? That's something I need to get done that I could, just chip away at in the next 10 minutes. And it's like, okay, that's my top priority. That's what I'm going to focus on in this gift of time that I have. And so I think
Nice.
that's
Very
why like
nice.
the system is so good to have it right there. So you'd be like, what do I want to do with myself right now? That's what I want to do with myself right now.
All right. Now you've opened up a can and I'm going to go there.
Oh.
The system itself and getting things done. When I said get it out of your head down into your system, what's in your head? What's in your head? So what's incomplete in your head? In other words, what have you thought of but not started?
Mm.
Started but not continued, continued but not finished, and finished but not acknowledged. That is called an incompletion. And they are swimming around in your brain and they are taking up psychic RAM. They are taking up that brain space where you could be creative and you wonder why you can't focus on one thing at one time. So given that, I invite people to do a data dump or a mind sweep and get all of those incompletions out of your head down onto paper. Now, that could be a page, could be 2 pages, 5 pages, 10 pages. Once you get it out, you can then look at those and say, well, really, Elisa, it's been on the list for 12 years. It's time to let it go. I don't want to let it go. It's my favorite. And so, yeah, but you haven't done anything in 12 years. Why do you hang on to it? Oh, yeah, I suppose you're right. Part of that is awareness. And then you can delete it. So are there things on your list that you can delete? Number one, 2-minute jobs, things you can do under 2 minutes. They're really good because in a spare 10 minutes, you can get 5 of them done. From
Mm.
there, single action items, things that are not a project, but longer than 2 minutes, like taking a library book back to the library is a single action item. You just grab the book, stick it in the car, drive, put it through the slot, come back. You can do other things while you're out. That's not the point. The point is that action is single, and then you've got projects. Now, the key with getting a data dump and utilizing a data dump is on that list, you can actually say that task is 2, that task is 10, that task is 30, that task is an hour. So given that you've got 10 minutes, look at your list and see, are there any 10-minute jobs that you can get done that you've nominated as a 10-minute job? And you go, there's one, I can do that right now because I've got a spare 10 minutes. And it's a great utilization of your time because you know that, yep, it's going to be 10 minutes and I can get it done. Now, of course, there are times when that blows out, but given your understanding of the task and the time frame, normally you can get it done in 10 minutes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's so great because, and even as you said that, on those times where I haven't done that, where I haven't looked at a list or like focused my energy, like, okay, what do I want to do in this 10 minutes? And I've just kind of bounced around, then I've almost like added to that incomplete list, right? Like, oh, I looked at this thing. Oh yeah, I got to do that, but that might take more time. Oh yeah, and then I saw this, or maybe I'll work on that for a second. Then I'll, and like in that incomplete list, I felt like in my mind would get better. And then at the end of the 10 minutes, I feel more stressed out and just like, oh, I don't know what just happened, but now I got to move on to whatever it is I got to do next. And so I
Yeah,
love that, yeah, have that list and be like, that's what I can do right now. And I'm going to commit to doing that one thing right now and then move on.
you got it.
Well, this has just been totally awesome. I've loved all the tips that you've given us. And we're talking about that. Create a system and figure out a system for you to get things done. And even something to add to that is like, you can try things out. Try the notebook, try the pen, and see what actually really works for you. And then make that your system and get it going. We talked about having boundaries with your time and how to kind of set those and how to even use those within your systems. And we talked about the A's and the B's, right? Have your A list was just like the priority things that you got to do today and really become aware of your distractions. what distracts you and and what can, because like awareness is the key to being able to change that. And one of those things is about getting clarity for your end result. And then just now we talked about um those incomplete tasks and getting those listed out so you can jump on them whenever you have a spare moment. So
Well,
thank you so much for all of that. So tell us, where can our listeners find you online? And also tell us about the gift that you have.
where can you find me online? You could Google me, just Les Watson, and the only other Les Watson comes up from UK. So I'm more prolific. So Les Watson, Get More Time. You can go to my website, getmoretime.com.au. So notice it's Australian, so it's .au, and you can find me there. All of my details are on that, and also links to my other company, Creating Success Coaching. And the gift that I want to give the listeners is 25 time tips for busy people. 25 time tips for busy people. It's a downloadable PDF and it's immediate. You just put your name and your email address in and you get it immediately. And it covers quite a bit of what we've spoken about and goes into depth on a number of others as well. So 25 time tips, and it's yours for free. The key to it is, don't just grab it and forget about it. Grab it, print it out, and do something on the list. Do something with it. It's like, yep, I'm going to action that, because it's in the action. We've someone once said the books on the bookshelf is that self-help or shelf help. And it's like, if all the knowledge stays on the shelf, it's not worth anything. But if you take it and utilize it and do something with it, it will assist and give you back that hour a day, rather than it just being a nice idea. So that's it. I'd love to speak to anyone that wants to take it further. All you need to do is get in contact with me. My details are on the website, getmoretime.com.au.
Thank you. And do you have any final words of wisdom for our
I
listeners?
think the key for all of this is discipline and leadership. The only person to lead your life is you. Therefore, you're the leader. Therefore, make decisions. Don't prevaricate, don't procrastinate, don't put it off. Just in the moment, make a decision. And then the discipline comes up underneath that and says, I can do it. I've done it once. I can do it ongoingly, and I can do it regularly. I can do it like a habit. So in that discipline, you will create for yourself more of the results you're after by being consistent. So leadership and discipline. I believe in you. I believe you're a leader. I believe you have the discipline. So all you need to do is go and do it.
Oh, thank you for that. And thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that I got to have you on the show. And yeah, for all your wisdom and all your tips. And I really hope that people download your thing and get the 25 things and see what you can do to get that hour back. Because who doesn't want an hour for themselves or an hour back every day, right? Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.